So do you want to live simply? Do you want to start thriving and not just surviving? Well, stick around because I'm going to show you a few of the tips that I use to do just that. So before we get to the drawing board, I want to tell you a little story. For those that don't know, I've done a lot of interviewing in my day. I've interviewed a lot of people. I've hired a lot of people. But my daughter had an interview this week, and they asked her a question. They asked her, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, most of us would answer, oh, I want to have a house, or I want to have kids, I want a new car. She said, I want to be thriving and not surviving. And that, I think, is probably the best answer that I've ever heard posed in that question, or to that question. I think it's a fantastic answer. And we're going to talk about thriving today. We're going to talk about how do we succeed. It's a mindset, guys. That's the first step. But let's get to the drawing board. So if it's your first time here, we do a couple different things. I talk and draw. I talk about different things, philosophy, that kind of thing. While I'm drawing in my sketchbook or doing some artwork. Right now we're going to be working on the sketchbook that we've been currently working on daily for the last 2 months. We're going to be bringing this comic series out soon. My wife and I are going to be writing it, and we're going to be announcing the title of that and the storyline soon. So hopefully you guys can enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think about the artwork. But today we're talking about thriving, not just surviving, and how to live a little bit more simply. Not an easy thing. In today's world, there's a lot of demands of what we're up against. If we choose not to be, though, we can make that work too. So we're going to be doing another character sketch today. I'm doing a few different ones right now, but yeah, so what I was saying earlier, my daughter had a very promising interview, and it was something that she's been working towards for a while, and she's got her degree in occupational therapy, and she's done just so well for herself. So to even aspire for even more is remarkable in itself, and I really commend her. I think she's pretty incredible. And the interview that she had this week was that interview question specifically was, and her answer was really what stuck with me on that, because I know I've had some interviews that weren't. We've all had interviews that haven't gone well, right? Whether we're giving them or whether we're being interviewed. But like I said, we learn from everything, right? And that's something I think that I learned from my kids all the time, but I definitely learned from my daughter this week. So kudos to her. Living simply, though, I mean, there's all different ways to look at it. Living simply can mean not spending a whole lot, not making a whole lot, doing what you want to, creating, doing what your passion is. Maybe not living to keep up with the Joneses, as a lot of us do or have done in the past. I no longer do that by decision, because I think that it's not a sustainable way to be. And I'm definitely looking forward to continuing on this journey this way. My wife and I, we're not very extravagant people. We do have some nice things, don't get me wrong. We take care of ourselves and that kind of stuff. But the decision to do my art full time and live where we live, and that is a decision that my wife and I have made together. And I can't stress it enough that it is so important that you've got some type of support system, whether it be financial or definitely emotional. And I'm definitely prefacing all of that with what I'm stating here. living simply is a decision, period. And that's a decision that you're going to have to make or not make. And living simply can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So I'm going to leave it at that. My simplicity is making my art, creating my writings and producing them, publishing them, whether it be Comics Unlimited with Glenn B. Fleming, or my podcasts with Craig Hall, or with Glenn, or this. This is how I live simply. I enjoy living by the lake. I enjoy the different seasons. Everything like that is part of living simply. And I'm not extravagant. I mean, I invest money wisely in my business, and I think that and that is a huge undertaking, and a lot of times to move monies around and to be profitable. But it's living simply because of the decisions of how I put things out there, how I try to manifest the decisions that have made my life work towards the benefit of where we're at, of what we're doing. So living simply can mean just not being stressed out to the max, being stuck in rush hour for an hour and a half one way to get home when you only live 15 miles. I've dealt with that over the years too, living in Detroit, and it's not always an easy thing. It happens worldwide. Whether you're in LA or Chicago or New York, wherever, or Detroit for that matter. But there's a lot of things that we can learn from living simply. One of which is de-stressing, and drawing in that does this for me. It's very much a de-stressor. This is part of my life. This is what I do, and this is who I am. I mean, that's it. And this is the creations that I'm making right now are showing that. You're going to see this in the comic series, like I said. How do we thrive, though? How's all that work? I mean, how does that play out when it boils down to it, when you're trying to make ends meet and you're trying to make just try to pay your bills, try to pay your house payment or just rent, How does that all work? Well, it's hard sometimes. You've got to find the balance. You've got to, if you need to work outside the home, or if you have a spouse that gives you the luxury of working on what you love, and they work outside the home, or whatever it is, whatever the case is, that's up to you. But I'll let you figure that out to where you're happy with the result. But living simply and thriving can be done. It can be done very, very well, and somewhat, once the process happens, somewhat easily. It becomes more of a rhythm, and you're able to. You'd be surprised what you can do. And adversity, is a funny thing, because it can build some amazing results. So if you guys are struggling, trying to make it work, or if you're doing it on your own, I mean, it's completely understandable. You've got to take it, and you've got to be comfortable with the end result. You have to do it, though. Nobody else is going to do it for you, and you're going to have to work at it. This is a constant battle, just keeping things afloat sometimes. But I'll tell you what, it's worth it. If you're creative and you're doing books and you're creating comics and that, you know what I'm talking about. You know how it can be. Oh, nobody's buying my stuff. Nobody's looking at anything online. They're not listening to what I have to say. I mean, we all go through that, and you will get through it. You will find your tribe. I talk about that, And speaking of which, if you guys are listening to the audio podcast, switch over, try the YouTube channel, Ted Davies Artistry, and see us on video. You can see what I'm drawing here. Become part of Ted's tribe, because we would love to have you here. And that's what I'm talking about with this tribe idea. We do find our tribe. Our vibe finds our tribe for us. So whatever you're putting out, if you're putting out that good energy, that good juju, then that's what you're going to get back. So make sure you're really thinking about that with the words you say and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Not everybody that is in your circle is in your corner. I've said that a few times. So be aware, curate. Find people that are going to be not just for you when things are great, because there's a lot of those, right? And you don't necessarily have to be privy, or part of that, because that's not something that people need to have in their lives unless it's a positive thing. So these drawings have been pretty well received. We've been talking a lot about this series. The series is I'll give you this quick synopsis of it. It's a series based on some amazing aliens that are part of a, for lack of a better word, a reality show, and they've been put on a planet to survive the best way that they can. And this planet, for some reason, has a ton of waste. And in order for them to live, they need to build these suits and these mechanisms to thrive, ironically, on this planet. And you're witnessing this right now. This being right now is in his mecha suit, if you want to call it that. And he is trying to feed the birds, I think. Which I think is not a bad thing, huh? Making it a little bit easier for some other being is always a good thing, right? So this storyline, my wife and I are writing. Like I said, we're going to be bringing out the title here soon. I have a few people that have been asking for it, and we've been waiting. I've been wanting to get things situated a little bit better with the overall thing. I'm working on a lot of different projects, and this is an add-on to what we're trying to do here. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that we're really looking forward to working on this together. It'll be, Chris has worked on other books with me, whether it be Grimm 101. She really helped me with Retrieve big time. If you guys don't know, Retrieve is the book my first comic book. You can find it on my website. Just go to my Square site. You can actually, it's linked here. If you go to my website, it'll take you right to the Square site with all my art and the books that are for sale, whether it be digital or paper copy. So, but Retrieve is the sci-fi thriller. It's actually being scripted out in LA by Craig Hall, producer, and we're currently working on the episodic scripts right now. We're almost completed on that, so we're really, really excited about that. And that should be, there's going to be a lot of different things happening with that in a good way this year. So, but we'll keep you posted on that. But as far as Chris helping me with the series, I think that this is just going to be a lot of fun for both of us. We're really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to drawing it, and she's looking forward to helping me write it because it's going to be a lot of fun. So, but in any case, thriving is the thing in what we're talking about. So, at least in this show. So, thriving, where do you start? Do you start by maybe trying to, let me actually get this other one here. Maybe trying to look at life a little bit less expensively. There's ways to live simply without blowing the bank. There's a lot of things in life that we do that cost a lot of money in this world, and it doesn't have to. I've spent a lot of my time, or I spend a lot of my time, I should say, my days going through my expenses and seeing where I can sharpen the pencil a bit, whether that be in the internet costs or your phone, whether you're driving all over the place, your expenses of your vehicle. You know, you have to decide that. You've got to figure that out for yourself. But I think that there's a lot of ways that we can end up saving a lot of money, and that does de-stress. I really find that it de-stresses a lot of my anxiety when I don't have a whole lot of money going out. And I've talked about this on other shows. People have to find their balance, because a lot of times there's you have to pay your bills, right? And you have to figure out the game plan for how much it's going to cost for this, for that, and the other, and it can be very daunting, and it can kill your creative process, right? But it needs to be done. So make sure that you are looking at your economics. You don't have to have the most expensive watercolor paper in the world, or I've said it before, or the most expensive watercolor itself, or pens or anything like that. You can do this pretty economically. You can buy the stuff at Walmart. I mean, I've said that before. Go on Amazon, find a couple things. If you can buy something from a local art store, then do that too. I mean, whatever. There's ways to do it to where you can save a few pennies here and there, and I think that you're going to be better for it. I think you're going to look at life a lot easier when you start cutting down your expenses. You know, one of the things that we did, you know, in business, I decided that we stream everything. We don't have any cable. Everything we use is on the internet. So that's a huge savings right there. I mean, right off the bat, we end up having a lot of things that we try not to watch much TV either, because we're business owners, and we're trying to get this thing off the ground, and I'm drawing, and I'm doing all these other things and writing, and I just don't have time to watch TV. But I still think it's important that we have entertainment. I mean, I'm part of my job is entertaining. I mean, this is what we're doing on YouTube. Hopefully it's entertaining for you. But there has to be, like I said, a balance. You figure it out. Don't, just take what resonates, that what I'm saying, to heart, if it works for you. If it doesn't, that's okay too. And I'm not trying to frustrate anybody. I'm just trying to show you what we've done to where we can save a few pennies. One of the things I did too, I'm not driving my car as much as I used to. Let me get a drink of coffee here. I'm not driving like I used to pre-pandemic. And a lot of us don't. See if you can save a few pennies on your car insurance, if they'll work with you on that. If the car's parked there, I mean, there's got to be ways to save a few pennies on that if you're working from home. That not always happens. It took us a lot to go through the insurance companies to get things to be reduced. Boy, it was like pulling teeth. But I stuck to my guns, and I made sure that we had the proper paperwork, however we did it. And, it might change depending on what state you're in and everything else, but it might be a little bit different. But there's definitely ways to save a few pennies that way. And I think that you should. I think that there's a lot of people that, check your bill out and see if there's some way that you can lessen it, because I know that it adds up quick. More money in, less money out. That's one of the rules that I've got, and it's been very, very, very much a mantra when it comes to business for me. I know a lot of people don't have, a lot of excess funds, and it's hard because you're trying to make things work in your business and your life. And, if you could save $20 here or $50 there, or, it does add up. It does add up. So, but it really just depends on what's going on with your expenses. It will help if you save a few pennies that way, though. I think it adds up. Living simply is like I said, a mindset. We're in a situation, Christine and I are, that we're building we're building a brand. I mean, Ted Davis Artistry is a brand, and it's been very successful for us, but it takes a lot of time to build a brand. This isn't something that's a overnight success. I mean, this has taken years to build, and it's still building. So, and there's times that, we're trying to build it day by day, and we want to build it organically, and it's not always easy when we're dealing with high bills and that kind of thing with internet or whatever it is, which I have to say, our phone bill and that and our internet now are very, very reasonable. At least I consider that. But you just have to look for the deals. You have to make sure that you're on it and make sure that you're not, don't miss out. Keep an eye on it. Don't like I don't want to say inundate yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself with a lot of these, trying to save a penny here and a penny there, because it can drive you crazy too. And I understand that. But do the best you can. I mean, try to have it so that your at least your vision towards trying to save a few pennies is not skewed. I mean, you're trying to do it for the right reasons. And see if there's something that you can definitely learn from it too. Try to help other people maybe do the same thing. If you can save a few pennies and then show somebody else how to do it, hey, that's even better. That's even better. So give me a second here. I'm going to blend these up a bit more. I know that there's a lot of the things living simply too is based around the time that we have. A lot of you guys are still working outside the home, and it's, that's stressful. You're raising kids, and it's easy, it's easy for a guy like me. Oh yeah, you work from home, and then, you don't realize that I've got gasoline bills, to pay to and from work, and I've got, and I understand that. I get it. I've done it. I understand that the balancing act of that is not something that I take lightly. There's a lot of people that are in the same situation, and they might be listening to the podcast versus YouTube. And that's one of the reasons I do that, so that, you can at least get the philosophy, or somewhat the philosophy behind it. I don't know, but there's ways to do it to where your simple living can be a lot of different things. It could be maybe having a garden where you can actually feed yourself, which is pretty awesome. I know that there's a lot of people that are trying to, especially in the winter, it's not an easy thing to find. I mean, with all the prices going up and everything else, we really love our garden. But boy, it's, during the winter, we don't can anything. It's pretty much for naught, right? But you can figure out what simple living is for you. What it means to me is that I have more time to do a lot of different things for my business. And I'm not as stressed as I used to be, as I was. And I'm still stressed at certain times. I don't mean that, but when I used to work and I was struggling trying to, being in traffic and everything else over the course of the day, and then having to drive through the mess, and then the winter time, and yeah, that was just too much. I did it for almost, for 20 some odd years, 30 years. So that'll drive you to, just drive you to craziness. So, and I look at life now, and it could be maturity. I don't know. I mean, I'm in my 50s now, and I look at life a little bit differently than I did, say, 30 years ago, especially with the kids that are, my kids are grown, and they're all productive people in life now. And, there's ways to do it to where you're comfortable. So you do what, you do you. I'm just trying to say that if you live simply, it's a lot easier to thrive. Now, what does thriving mean? It means being able to not be stressed out about money. That's one of the first things. It means that you can be out in nature, and you can you be close to nature. It means that you can enjoy yourself without worrying about what's in the bank. And that means that you maybe don't spend as much. That's another big thing, because a lot of people don't realize, oh yeah, I want that car, I want this, I'm trying. And I don't know if you know who you're impressing, because there's a lot of people that you might be buying this stuff for people that you don't even like, really. But that's an argument you can have with yourself. I'm just putting it out there, because that's something too. I know a lot of people that they buy these expensive cars, and I did that too for many years. Or not just expensive cars, but where you live, and keeping up with the Joneses and all this stuff. It's not sustainable, guys. I'm not saying if that makes you happy, don't do it. Go ahead and do it. But the realization is that it's not sustainable. And for a lot of people, it's super debt, and it's not good. There's a lot of people in life that get lost in the whole battle of spending money just to keep up with people and keep up with their neighbors, and it really kills a lot of the. It can literally kill you fast, because you're under so much stress. You put yourself under so much stress, and it's a damn shame. There's a lot of people, a lot of good people, die young because of it. Okay. Simple living, though. I think that simple living is being able to do what you want to when you want. Not maybe spending as much as you probably have in the past. And helping others with what they want to do. That's what I think simple living is. Now, am I good at it? I try. I'm not perfect. I'm trying to build like I said, a brand that is both profitable and fun. And it's my art. And I'm thankful that Christine gives me the luxury of doing this. I shouldn't say allows me. It's not like that. But there's an avenue that I think we all can be thriving. I think that there is no lack. I think that there's a lot of things in life that we are misdriven, that people don't realize that there's no lack. There's abundance everywhere. And you've got to find what you consider to be abundant and what you consider to be something that you want to work toward. There's a lot of things in life that people will tear you down and say, hey, you're not going to make it. You'll never be a comic book artist. You'll never be published, whatever. You know what? They can bite it. Because the bottom line is, you've got to figure out what's good for you. And as long as you're not hurting anybody doing it, then I say go for it. Build something that nobody else can build. And that's, I did a lot of buildings over the years. And I think that there's a lot of things that people can learn by just shutting up and listening to themselves. Be quiet for a little bit. Get away from the noise. See if there's something that resonates with you, that you think you can build, that you think that you can design something, in life, that is going to be beneficial, not just for you, but for other people. And that is the beginning of simple living. And that's the beginning of thriving, too. There's so many things you can do, guys, but I think that following the voice, following that voice that you hear, that subtle nudge that says, hey, maybe you should do this. I think that there's a lot of things in life that are something that we can't see or touch, but we need to listen to it. That looks pretty good. I like that. So, simple living is just that. Finding what you think is going to work for you. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses if you don't want to. You can spend as much money as you want to. You can earn as much as you want to. For me, simple living, like I said, is trying to do the best I can with what I have, my art. So, and I appreciate you guys being part of it. Check out everything we're doing on Ted Davies Artistry. No envy, no fear. You guys will thrive. Just listen to the voice. And we will talk to you soon.